All-Pro Sports presents Brett Favre, MVP quarterback. An explosive look at how the league's best quarterback plays the game. Join All-Pro Brett Favre as he powers through the workout regimen that keeps him in championship form. Brett Favre takes you inside the fundamental skills that make him the best, along with the help of Green Bay Packers center Mike Flanagan. Join All-Pro stars Jeff Yeager, Jeff Gossett, Reggie White, Eric Allen, and Coach Don Shula for the professional view on what makes Brett Favre the best player in the game today.
Brett Favre is just a strong-armed kid who would challenge anyone.
Get ready for power, get set for control, and get ready to explode with Brett Favre, MVP quarterback. Brett Favre was born in 1969 in Gulfport, Mississippi. Brett's family moved to Kill, where his father coached at a nearby Pass Christian High School.
I first picked up a football probably at 2 or 3 years old. My dad was coaching, and I was always around it. So as young as I can remember, I had a football in my hand.
At 14, Brett entered Hancock North Central High. He lettered 5 times in baseball, twice in basketball, and 3 times for his father in football.
Being a coach's son, I think, has its ups and downs. When you wake up for breakfast, you talk football. When you go to bed at night, you talk football or baseball. I think most players got 2 hours a day of football. I got 24 hours a day.
Irvin Favre pushed his son hard. So hard, sometimes, young Brett resented his father's firm hand.
You know, all those times he told me you're not hurt, and you know, those bruises, wipe them off, and those scrapes, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, I hated him for it then, but I'm thanking him for it now. And that has made the biggest difference, is just growing up in an area and having a father who wouldn't allow me to be hurt.
Brett played quarterback, strong safety, punter, and place kicker at Hancock, and played in the state's All-Star game. Though the school retired Brett's number 10 jersey, college scouts were not knocking down his door.
We were not, I think, known outside of Mississippi. So it was hard to prove to people that I could play with so-called big boys. And finally, my dad convinced scouts and recruiters to come in and take a look at me, and from that point on, it was history.
Brett got only 1 scholarship offer from the nearby University of Southern Mississippi. And early on, the coaching staff didn't see him in a leadership role. But Brett convinced the coaches to give him a shot at the starting job.
When I got to Southern Mississippi, I was a strong safety, and I got a chance after about the second game to throw the football and convince the coaches that at least I could throw. And that it was a matter of mentally I could handle it at 17 years old. And then third game, I became a starter and started the rest of my 4 years.
Brett set school records for passing yards, completions, passing percentage, and touchdowns, and ranks as one of the top 30 college passers of all time. He also led the Golden Eagles to several upset wins.
The highlight of my career at Southern Mississippi was probably beating Florida State, Alabama, and Auburn. 3 of, obviously, the powerhouses in the country, and for a small school like Southern Miss to beat them was wonderful.
But Brett's dreams seemed to shatter on July 14, 1990, when a serious car crash left his body twisted and broken. Lying in a hospital bed, the young college senior believed he'd never play football again.
After that accident, no. Fraction of vertebrae in my back and having 30 inches of intestines removed was pretty serious. So I didn't think I would, and if I did, it would be a long time. But fortunately enough, I came back and played a month and a half later.
Brett willed himself out of his sickbed and back onto the football field, where he started his senior year with a stunning upset of Alabama. He led his team to an 8-3 record and earned the right to start in the prestigious All-American Bowl.
What I remember most about the All-American Bowl was, one, it was my last game ever as a Southern Mississippi athlete, and two, I was the most valuable player in that game, and three, we lost.
But Brett's MVP performance made the professional scouts take notice. All but ignored during his 4 years at Southern Miss, Brett was suddenly a hot NFL prospect.
The draft that I was drafted in was strange because we had thought that I was going to go much earlier than I actually went. So it was disappointing, but it was also relieving.
The Atlanta Falcons took Brett in the second round, but he played the season on the bench. The next season, he was traded to the Green Bay Packers.
Looking back at my career, there's been so many ups and downs, and that was definitely a low point in my career, and it did make me question how good I was and if I could compete with the players throughout the NFL. So it made me kind of step back and take a look at what was going on. But I think that was good. It was good for me because it's kind of a slap in the face, and it made me work even harder.
Brett Favre is now certainly one of the premier quarterbacks in the National Football League, and a guy that everybody expects to lead his team to the championship.
Hi, I'm Brett Favre. I want to show you what it takes to be a leader on the football field. As a quarterback, you are the key player of the offensive unit, and you must perform with exact precision and the utmost poise and confidence in order to inspire your teammates and execute the offensive game plan. You must have the size and strength to stand up in the face of an attacking defense and the quickness and agility to properly execute the offensive plays. Here's what I do to maintain my size, strength, quickness, and agility. I always begin each workout session with a stretching exercise. I warm up before any strenuous exercise to avoid muscle pulls or tears.
The shoulder stretch loosens up your arm for throwing. Stretching your hamstrings helps with quick starts. Stretching your back is important for throwing and bending. And stretching your hip flexors helps you with dropping back and your throwing motion.
I also follow a running program.
Run 100-yard strides at 3/4 speed. Do 8 to 10 strides in a set. Also, run a mile 2 or 3 times a week to help you with your endurance and stamina.
I never really take off. I may take a week or two off just to get away from it, but I'm right back at it. And I try to maintain my weight and my strength because every week you get pounded. I mean, you have 300-pound guys that just hit you nonstop, and that's hard to overcome week in and week out.
Brett's dedication to his training program has made him the most durable quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't missed a start in 61 straight games.
I lift weights to maintain my size, strength, quickness, and agility.
Brett starts with the bench press. He sets it at a weight that feels comfortable. He does 3 sets of 15 repetitions. Brett does 20 minutes at the top level on the Stairmaster every day. You should start doing 5 minutes at level 1. Work your way up to 20 minutes, then try 5 minutes at level 2. Finally, Brett does 20 minutes on the stationary bike every day to maintain his cardiovascular fitness.
It is also extremely important that you eat the right foods and get the proper amount of rest so that you can play at your best. The clothing and equipment I use reduces my risk of injury and helps me perform at my best. One of the most important things in football is the helmet.
A quarterback's face mask has an open front, which allows for a greater range of vision.
It allows you to either throw or catch the football without any interference. Secondly, we have the shoulder pads here.
Quarterback pads protect the back and are short on the shoulders, which allows for a full range of arm movement.
Cleats. All I'd say is just get a comfortable pair of cleats with obviously the spikes on the bottom for gripping. The hardest thing to me playing this position is to do it every week at a high level. And people kind of look at me strange when I say that. They want me to say throwing the down and out or throwing a crossing route or avoiding big guys coming at you. It's not that. You know, that's just part of the game. Quarterbacks must perform with precision as they begin each offensive play and set the stage for its success. You must practice the basic fundamental techniques you will use over and over again as a quarterback until they become instinctive. These are the techniques you will use as a quarterback. A typical stance for a quarterback is one in which he is relaxed and demonstrates poise and confidence. Your feet should be spread shoulder-width apart. They should be as close to your center's feet as you can place them. Your knees should be slightly bent. You should be facing the line of scrimmage with your head up so that you are able to look over the defensive lineman. At most levels of football today, coaches call all the offensive plays from the sidelines to reduce the quarterback's responsibilities. However, quarterbacks are often given the responsibility of checking off a called play, call an audible at the line of scrimmage. You call an audible to take advantage of the defensive alignment you encounter upon breaking the huddle and coming up to the line. This is what to do if you're calling the plays. As your teammates form the huddle, make your observations about the down and the yardage needed for a first down. Then join your teammates in the huddle. Exercise control by calling the formation, the play, and the snap count. Then call break to break the huddle. Wait for your team to set up in the formation called at the line of scrimmage.
Set up behind the center and prepare for the snap of the ball. Check the defense to make sure the play called will work against the alignment. If not, call an audible at the line of scrimmage to change the play.
When calling signals to start a play or change a play at the line of scrimmage, you must speak loudly and clearly enough so that your teammates are able to hear the signals and react at the snap of the ball.
Call out the signals in a sharp cadence. Develop a rhythm so the offense can react as a team at the snap of the ball and execute the play.
Here's some sample play calling. Green 19. Green 19. Red 18. I definitely believe that to be the quarterback on any level, from 5th grade to your last year in the NFL, you have to be the guy in charge. I mean, that's just the way it has to be, and there's no alternative.
As you call out the snap count, be ready to receive the ball.
The quarterback-center exchange is an extremely important part of each offensive play. It must be executed perfectly as each player performs his assignment within the proper time frame for the play to be effective. Your hand should be positioned under the center's crotch. You should keep the heels of your hands and thumbs together with your fingers extended and spread open.
The forefinger of your throwing hand should be in the middle of the center's crotch. Push up with enough pressure so the center knows where to snap the ball. Position your bottom hand so your thumbs are together and your fingers are extended.
This provides your center with the opening he needs to place the ball into your hands.
Bend your elbows slightly to absorb the impact of the snap without dropping the ball. The center snaps the laces of the ball across the fingers of your throwing hand, so you don't have to rotate the ball.
You should be looking downfield as you take the snap from the center. On running plays, you should turn your head in the direction of the running back who will be getting the ball.
On passing plays, bring the ball into your body and raise it to its throwing position as you drop back.
Practice the center quarterback exchange over and over again until it becomes natural to both of you. Here it is in real time.
Favre was anything but confident when he was called from the bench by the Packers in 1992.
My first NFL game I remember as it was yesterday. It was Cincinnati. We were down 17-3, and I played awful up until the end.
With seconds remaining, Coach Mike Holmgren looked to Favre and receiver Kittrick Taylor for a come-from-behind miracle.
It was, as you said, towards the end of the ball game, and it was do or die. The last play to Kittrick was with about 5 seconds left, so if he drops it or I make a bad pass, then the game's over and Cincinnati wins. So Mike Holmgren called a play designed to go to him, and basically what I had to do was fool the free safety, and by doing that I had to pump fake towards the middle, draw him in, and then make a good pass to Kittrick. And I just look back and I'm thankful that I made a good throw, because I was very tired, and I know the rest of our team was, and I think it was the beginning of something great in Green Bay. Timing on every play is critical to its success, so it's extremely important for you to use the proper footwork and ball handling techniques in executing both running and passing plays. You must maintain your balance with your weight evenly distributed throughout your stance at the beginning of each play.
Push off with your off foot and move in the direction of the play.
In executing a handoff, the quarterback knows which running back will be getting the handoff and where the exchange will take place. It's your responsibility to make sure the ball is not fumbled on the handoff. Keep both hands on the ball as long as possible. Make whatever adjustments need to be made for the running back's path and speed. Keep your eyes focused on the midsection of the ball carrier.
Make the exchange with your lead foot on the same side as the hand you use to place the ball.
You will have better balance and greater reach than if you cross over to make the handoff. Place the ball softly but firmly in the midsection of the running back into the cradle he provides. If you cannot hand off the ball cleanly, keep it to avoid a fumble. Be careful not to follow the ball carrier with your eyes. Carry out the play as if you still maintain possession of the ball. Here's what a real-time handoff looks like. I think what enabled me to become a better quarterback, as I've told most people, is experience. Every guy that comes into this league can play, and it's just a matter of getting some, as we say, time under your belt, learning. In faking a handoff, you must cover up the play and see the defense whenever possible. This makes the play more effective. Hold the ball in the middle, or the fat part of the ball, with both hands.
Place an empty hand in the stomach of the ball carrier and place the ball on your far hip. As the running back goes by you, pull your hand out of his midsection.
At the same time, extend an empty hand and follow the running back with your eyes. Maintain your poise and follow through in a strong, confident manner without making your next move too quickly. This will give the defense an opportunity to believe the fake. Now watch it in real time.
Brett Favre was a model of confidence when Green Bay faced the Chicago Bears on November 12, 1995.
And he's just such a good talent, young, and he's just a young gun ready to explode.
Favre threw a team record 5 touchdowns, racked up 336 yards, and was named NFL Player of the Week.
That selection had a lot of meaning. I think every honor that I've ever received has been special, but gradually throughout my pro career, more and more good things have happened. And with each one, I feel more and more like one of the elite in this league. And that was kind of I think the snowball effect there. That kind of proved to me that, hey, if you can become Player of the Week, then you can become Player of the Year.
In running the quarterback option, you will decide between keeping the ball and becoming the ball carrier or pitching the ball to your trailing running back. Move down the line of scrimmage toward the defensive end. At the same time, the running back trails along about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. As you move down the line, you should attempt to move upfield with as much speed as possible to maintain your balance, so that you are able to turn upfield if you decide to keep the ball. This forces the defensive end to choose between you and the running back.
As you move down the line, hold the ball about chest height in both hands.
But be in control of the ball with your outside hand or the one closest to the trailing running back.
If the defensive end stays with you in an attempt to tackle you, pitch the ball to the trailing running back.
If you choose to toss the ball to the trailing running back, be sure to toss the ball to him with a controlling hand at chest height. You do this so that he can maintain his speed while catching the ball, without having to bend down for a low toss, which may cause him to stumble or drop the football.
Here's how the pitch out looks in real time.
If the defensive end moves across the line of scrimmage toward the running back, you keep the ball, plant your outside foot, and turn upfield as the ball carrier.
And here's what the keep looks like at full speed.
Well, Brett Favre running with the football is not something that our coaches thrive to see, or I think our players thrive to see, and it's really something I don't really get too excited about. But it's something that we can utilize in our offense, because no one expects Brett Favre to run with the football, and that's basically why I run for 38 yards every once in a blue moon.
An offensive team will be more effective if the quarterback is a skilled passer and if the offense is able to execute passing plays with as much effectiveness as it executes running plays. The defensive team doesn't know if the play will be a pass or a run.
So if the quarterback is a skilled passer, the defense will be forced to defend against a successful passing attack. It will also be vulnerable to the offense's running game.
At the snap, drop back to allow the offensive lineman to form a protective pocket around you. This gives you enough time to get your proper depth and spot your receiver. Once you decide to throw, step up into the pocket, push off your back foot, step towards your intended receiver, and complete the pass.
You have to have a special relationship with your linemen for one reason: they protect you, and it's about as simple as it gets.
In throwing the football, you should use the following techniques when preparing to pass.
Hold the ball in both hands at the ready position. As you prepare to throw the ball, take a step forward with your off foot in the direction you want to throw.
As you step forward, you should bring the ball behind your ear while gripping it with your fingers across the laces, with your index finger close to the tip of the ball to guide your pass. You should maintain some space between the palm of your hand and the football. As you release the ball, you should let it rotate off the palm of your hand to your fingertips to give the ball a spiral motion.
Your index finger should be the last finger to leave the ball, pointed in the direction you're throwing. Snap your wrist and follow through like a baseball pitcher throwing a curve. Your palm should be turned out with your thumb and forefinger down.
Here's how you put all those elements together.
No game posed a greater personal challenge for Brett than the Pittsburgh Steelers on a cold December afternoon in 1995.
Going through a game like the Pittsburgh game and being hit the way I was hit, to be involved in a game of that magnitude, it was for the NFC Central Championship.
Favre was hit so hard he coughed up blood on the sidelines, but he returned on the next play to throw a touchdown pass.
How I grew up around my father as being a tough player in a tough area, and unless your legs are broken, to continue to play at a high level, no matter what.
Favre completed 23 of 32 passes and led the Packers to their first NFC championship in 25 years.
I was really impressed with his toughness, and I thought that Brett Favre could lead us to the Super Bowl.
Coughing up a little blood was nothing, and I knew that my dad was in the stands, so I had better get back out there.
Most passing attacks are based on the drop-back pass.
There are three methods of dropping back: the crossover, backpedal, and roll out.
Bend your knees, lower your hips, and plant the toes of your lead foot parallel to the line of scrimmage.
Follow your first step with several crossover steps to the position from which you will pass the ball. As you come within 2 steps of your setup position, you should shift your weight forward to slow your momentum. At the same time, place your feet in a position to ready yourself to throw the ball. This is the crossover at full speed. Again, you begin by bending your knees and lowering your hips. But you take your first step directly backwards, and you follow it with the number of steps required for you to get to the position from which you will throw the ball. You have to be mentally sharp week in and week out, and that's hard to do because growing up you always thought of football players as being the dumb jocks. Usually football players are the smartest players in sports. You have to think so much. When you use the crossover drop or back pedal, you will use the 3-step drop, the 5-step drop, or the 7-step drop. The drop will depend upon the pass pattern to be run and the time required by your receivers to run the pass pattern. On a 3-step drop, your receivers are running a quick in or an out pattern. You should throw the ball within 2 seconds after the snap. On a 5-step drop, your receivers are running individual patterns or combination patterns. You should throw the ball within 3 to 3.5 seconds after the snap.
On a 7-step drop, your receivers run deep patterns or combination routes, or your running backs become secondary receivers.
You should throw the ball within about 4.5 seconds after the snap.
On January 6, 1996, Brett Favre engineered one of the greatest postseason upsets in NFL history against the defending champion San Francisco 49ers.
I think if there was any benefit for us going into the 49ers playoff game, it would be Mike Holmgren. Knowing the 49er offense and knowing the city and everything about what the 49ers were, their mystique, so to speak.
Favre and Holmgren stunned the 49ers with a 27-17 upset.
Playing against one of the great teams of all time and beating them, in their park. And to see Mike Holmgren's face after the game and how excited he was to beat basically his home team was truly a wonderful feeling, and it is one that I'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, I did believe the Packers had a chance to win the Super Bowl, and one of the reasons I believed it was because of Brett.
Though the Packers would fall to the Dallas Cowboys, Favre remained determined.
If I leave this game without a Super Bowl, then I'll leave with some disappointment, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to do everything in my power to get that Super Bowl.
In rolling out to a position to set up to throw the ball, you move in an arc toward the sideline. You're giving ground as you move to allow your blockers to set up in front of you and to gain separation from the defense.
Move to the position from which you will throw on one side of the field several yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Watch me roll out in real time.
You have to let the guys have their space, so to speak. But on the football field, the most important person that I'm close to is my receivers.
Keep this information in mind about the different kinds of drop back passes. The crossover type of drop back is the quickest. The back pedal is slower, but it allows you to read the movement of the defensive backs and spot your receivers as you're dropping back. The rollout is used by quarterbacks who have the ability to carry the ball like running backs, or those who need to move away from the lineman to get a better view downfield. On a running pass, the throwing motion is the same as on a drop back pass, but you must use additional techniques. If you are right-handed and moving to the right, you will not have much difficulty in throwing the ball. But if you are right-handed and moving to your left, you will have to twist your body in making the throw. You will have more difficulty in throwing the ball with velocity and accuracy. You should move toward the line of scrimmage as you throw the ball, so your momentum will assist you in your delivery.
Read the defensive backfield. Do not look at your primary receiver as you prepare to throw.
Now watch me perform the running pass in real time.
And I think, as I've always said, you got to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel to get to the top. And I've done that. I've played in some horrible games and looked awful, but somehow you learn from that and you become a better quarterback, and that's definitely what I've done. Plays do not always develop as planned, so you may find yourself scrambling to find an open receiver.
If your receivers are covered for a long time, the protective pocket might collapse. So in order to create more time to find an open receiver, you must be able to scramble away from the pocket and pass on the run.
A quarterback who is able to complete the execution of a broken play will be more successful and more valuable to his offensive team.
In 1995, Brett Favre set a new NFC and Packer record with 38 touchdown passes in a season.
It's like the utmost honor you can possibly receive, because as a youngster, before I even got a chance to play in my first game as a fifth grader, I mean, that's what you dream of, is being the best player in the world.
For his heroics in 1995, Favre was named the National Football League's most valuable player.
Well, I'd have to say Brett Favre. You know, right now he's, I think he's almost right to that top echelon of quarterbacks. You know, I mean, I obviously, you know, this past season he was the best in the league, and you know, I think if he can continue that level of performance, you know, he'll be one of the all-time greats.
To date, the most gratifying thing that I've accomplished is been the most valuable player. Not only for myself, but for my teammates. I think everyone in Green Bay, along with the coaches and the fans, take pride in Brett Favre being the MVP. And to me, that's more important than an individual honor.
Proper execution depends on practicing the techniques you learn, so it's important to use the drills which enable you to perfect these techniques. Here are some drills you might use.
Start at the end zone, run to the 5-yard line and back, then to the 10-yard line and back, and so on to the 50-yard line. Do one entire half of the field at full speed. The karaoke drill helps you practice moving sideways. Another great endurance exercise is jumping rope. Do it as long as you can before getting tired.
If you want to be the greatest player in the world, or the best player in the NFC, the best player in the AFC, then what you have to do is you have to work for it. And too many times guys don't believe that, and what happens to them, you never hear from them again.
Learning and practicing these fundamentals is the key to improving your game, but you also need a strong mental approach. Everything I've had to deal with hasn't been easy, good and bad, and to be here today, no doubt, is a tribute to me being able to handle mostly the bad things, and you know, I'm thankful that I'm able to accept both good and bad. The advice I would give to youngsters in any sport is that it won't be easy, and it's going to be a long road, but it'll be a lot of fun. And if you believe that you can be the best in the league and want to be, then it can happen. If you want to be the best, you have to act like it, and that means on and off the field. Too many times today you hear people say, this guy does not love the game, and that's upsetting to me because it's such a fun game. So I want people to say that he was the greatest player to ever play the game, and he enjoyed playing it more than anyone.
Yeah, the victory in the Super Bowl, I think, means everything. It's what we we work for. We start training camp in early July in hopes of getting to a Super Bowl and winning it. Kind of brings everything to reality. It's like, hey, this is what, as a little kid, you dream of actually doing. Not so much playing pro football, but being in the Super Bowl. So I think, obviously, winning it is the biggest thing I've ever been associated with. There's a lot of gratitude in winning an MVP. You feel great. You're named the best player in the world. But until you win a Super Bowl, it just isn't the same. And I've said this all along that being an MVP is great, but individual honors only go so far. 20 years from now, no one's going to care who's the MVP, but they'll remember who won the Super Bowl.
If you practice these techniques, you too can become an outstanding quarterback.